Right. Go ahead and call this meeting to order. First item is roll call.
Alderman Bass.
Here.
Alderman Bamman.
Here.
Alderman Headley.
Here.
Alderman Stratton. Here. Alderman Totten. Here. Alderman West. Here. We have a quorum.
Okay. Next item is invocation, be led by Darrell Jones from Crossroads Church, followed by pledge of allegiance from Alderman West.
Let's pray together. God, we once again, as we gather together as leaders in the community and residents, we give you thanks that we get to live where we live. We have the freedom that we have, and we have the liberty that we have, and so we don't want to come before you without first saying thanks. But as we give thanks for our community and the way that we're blessed, we're also blessed by the world in which we live and blessed by this place. And so we pray your blessings tonight on the proceedings. We thank you for Alderman Bamman and his service and the contribution that he's made over the last 2 years. Pray you continue to bless he and his wife in their future endeavors. We're also thankful for Tom as he's taken the initiative to come on and to run and to serve. And so as he gets his feet wet and begins to learn the things that he needs to know, I just pray you would give him grace and mercy and bless him as well. As well as the rest of our aldermen, our mayor, our city servants, our staff, city administrator. We pray your blessings on them, their families, and give you thanks tonight for the service that they give to us and the extra opportunities that they use like meetings to. So we pray your blessings on all that's said and done. In Jesus' name.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next up is the approval of the agenda.
No changes, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Seeing no proclamations, move on to citizens' participation. We ask that citizens who wish to address the board come forward to the podium and microphone. Please give your name and address for the record. Anyone who wishes to address the board this evening? Seeing none, move on to the consent agenda.
Mayor, I move that we accept the consent agenda.
I have a motion from Alderman West to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second? Second, Alderman Bamman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next item is previous business. Under previous business, we have city prosecutor. As I think most of you are aware, last week, Alderman Headley and Alderman Stratton and I, along with Ryan, interviewed candidates for city prosecutor position. We originally had 3 that were coming in for interview. One of them took a Jackson County judgeship like right beforehand, so then we were down to 2. Both candidates did, Alderman Stratton can speak to, but did a great job. Both, I think, brought a little bit different aspect to the position. One more from a trial criminal type attorney, and the other being a prosecutor in other cities. So after we talked it over for a while, I think our recommendation to the board then would be to continue, to hire Joe Lauber's firm to represent the city as city prosecutor. Most of the time that would be Jeremy doing that, but they also have other attorneys there as well that could assist in that. So, I do believe we will need a motion to approve that. I don't think we have to have an ordinance or anything, is that correct? Just motion approval.
No, you just need a motion, voice vote for the approval, and then, so I would, Mayor, if you're going to make the motion, or if somebody's going to make the motion, I would make the motion to allow the city administrator to negotiate the fee for the services, just because since this was an RFQ process, it's professional services, we have to select a candidate before we can negotiate a fee. So a motion to allow the city administrator to negotiate a fee and agreement with Lowder's firm and execute, and the mayor execute. Is that clear as mud? I tried to make it clear, it wasn't.
So moved. Okay, so, motion from Alderman Bamman, did you get all that?
I think so.
All right, second? Second, Alderman Stratton. Any discussion then, or questions about the interviewing process, or? Nancy, you look like you're... Got a question?
No, I'm still waiting to get a copy of each department, how much, many people got raises.
Okay, no, we're not talking about that right now.
I'm curious now if you,
All right,
we don't know.
so anyone have any discussion on this matter then? All right, is this roll call vote or is this the voice? All right, all in favor then, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right. Seeing no presentations, then move on to resolutions.
The first resolution is R-19-22, a resolution authorizing the city administrator to approve the Midwest Public Risk NPR 2019 to 2020 plan elections and rates for employee health, dental, and vision benefit coverage.
Mayor, I move that we accept resolution 19-22 as read.
Okay. I have a motion from Alderman West to approve resolution R-19-22. Do I have a second? Second. Second, Alderman Headley. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, as you will recall, last week, at the last board meeting, Ms. Holland made a presentation on the rates. The rate increase, NPR's plan year runs from July 1 to June 30th, which is why we are needing to make this decision at this point. If you have any questions, I'm sure Ms. Kalila or myself can assist with that. Nothing further.
Any questions or discussion?
One question. When all the dust settles and everybody selects their plans, can we get a summary of the end cost, if you will, of the, relative to the number of employees you have versus what you're estimating?
Okay.
Anyone else? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
All right, the second resolution is R-19-23, a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Green Valley, Missouri, adopting the elected officials' operating guidelines and public meeting guidelines for citizen participation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. All right, I move that we accept resolution number R-19-23 as read.
Okay. I have a motion from Alderman Stratton to approve resolution R-19-23. Do I have a second? Second. Alderman Bamman. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, I know we've been talking about this process for quite some time, and the final version of the of the guidelines was included in the packet. Sorry, my computer's not cooperating, so I'm doing it old school here. So this will adopt the official elected officials operating guideline, which, if it does pass, congrats to you. It's a mission that the city's undertaken for over 15 years and hasn't been able to. So I appreciate your input and the comments that you have. We did include, as we discussed last week, that we were going to have conduct on social media and conduct with the media. That's the only portion that was added into your e-packet when we distributed it. So other than that, happy to answer any questions that you may have on the topic.
two things that
Okay.
I had asked about. I'm good.
Alright. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay. The third resolution is R-19-24, a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Green Valley, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with McCown Gordon Construction LLC for construction manager services.
Mayor, I move that we accept resolution number R-19-24 as read.
I have a motion from Alderman Bannum to accept resolution R-19-24. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Totten? Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is the process that we're going through to move forward on feasibility of a complex at Snybar and Buckner-Tarsney. We've started this with the architect and engineer acquisition and entering into an agreement with them. This is actually selecting a construction company to serve as the general manager for all the services. We interviewed a couple firms from here. I'm going to let Teresa kind of explain it. She's done a fantastic job championing this project and moving it forward.
Mayor and members of the board, we actually have Mr. Chris Hess and Mr. Pat Contreras, did I get everybody's names right? From McCown Gordon here present to give a short presentation, but just before they do that, I want you to note that in your packet you had a copy of the contract. We've been moving this forward as quickly as possible to get them on board as soon as possible with that design, because they are really who's going to help us find the feasibility financially for this project. So we're not building more than we can handle and whatnot along the way. So with that being said, and moving to get this into your e-packet, there have been some changes to the contract that's in your e-packet. I passed out an email from today, actually, with Jennifer Baird from Lauber Municipal Law had reviewed the contract and made some suggested edits. And very quickly, Mr. Hess got back to us and answered all the sections that we had questions on. And so you'll see Jennifer Baird's comments are in blue and McCown Gordon's responses in red. If you want to read through that, those are the changes we'll be working through with the contract. Some of them occur with just things that, municipalities don't have to worry about when it comes to contracts, such as lien rights and things like that. Others have to do with insurance and things along the way. And so most of these answers, or all these answers, really were satisfactory for us to move forward. So just take a quick look at that before you approve this resolution or vote on it. And also in the contract, you'll notice, I don't have the page number right here in front of me, I should have grabbed that, but there is a section that talks about overall percentage of savings. And so with the construction manager at risk process, there is a guaranteed price that's set at the end. And as an incentive to be efficient and effective with costs, there is a clause in there that we are suggesting, pretty standard, I believe, that we would do 25% of the first $200,000 in savings would come back to McCown Gordon, and anything above $200,000 would come back in our pocket. So if the project, and you guys can help me explain this if I'm getting it off a little bit, but if the project would come in under the guaranteed maximum price, anything from $0 to $200,000, they would get 25% of that back. We would keep the remaining 75 back in our pocket. Anything above that $200,000 would 100% come back to us. Did I get that correct?
That's correct.
So with that being said, I'm going to let them come and do their short presentation for you all, and then we can do some questions if there are any after that. Over.
So first of all, my name is Chris Hess, and I'm with McCown Gordon, obviously, and I will serve as the team leader. So ultimately, I'm accountable not only to the success of the project for the city, but also to McCown Gordon
As an organization, see if we got that. It's coming up right.
So first of all, thank you. This is a very exciting project, obviously a civic center, a community center, and then there's unbelievable opportunity for this space as well. So we'll continue to look for opportunities for the current civic center that sits here. It may end up being some other form of development. There's an opportunity there to use that as part of the overall approach to funding the project. And ultimately, it's our responsibility, as you said, I'll say, a feasibility assessment is really to work with the design team and City of Green Valley to make sure that what is being designed can actually be built for the budget that's allowable, and then use our experience to try to maximize that to the greatest extent possible. So, we had, I think it was about a week and a half ago, we got to meet with Shannon, Teresa, Ryan, and Ken, and they asked us to do a brief presentation. I promise to keep it brief. So, I want to start with our promise. Our promise is to be your best partner. And we're gonna do that through leadership. That is, you know, the team that we've got put together is, we wanna allow Ryan and Ken and Teresa to really concentrate on their day job, not have to worry about the project. So we see it as our responsibility to provide leadership and enhance the team that's already been put together. Stewardship, this is community dollars. It is a moral responsibility to act on behalf of the community and be good stewards of those funds, always looking to drive value as we work through the process. And then community, this is a community asset. Whenever we make decisions, you have our commitment that we're gonna try to look through it, not only through the city's eyes, but also each of your community members, to make sure we're making decisions that appeal to them, and that all of you can look people in the eye and say, we made the best decision possible based on what we had at that time. So, a real brief about McCown Gordon Construction is, we were founded almost 20 years ago. In fact, June will be our 20th anniversary. And it's going to sound a little bit weird, but we're a construction company that really focuses on our core values, and we believe in these. They were founded on integrity, which is telling the truth above all else. Performance is doing what we say we're going to do, when we say we're going to do it, and relationships. And that's making decisions that will allow us to maintain relationships, not only in the short term, but over a long period. And with 20 years of experience, I think we've done a pretty good job of that. We've been blessed with great success. This year we'll be approaching $600 million in revenue, which puts us in that kind of that top category of regional contractors. We have 350 associates, with offices in Kansas City, Manhattan, Kansas, and just recently we opened another office in Wichita, Kansas. But our background and the experience we have, government and public clients is one of our core businesses. Long-term civic facilities, city hall, courts and police, kind of that civic component. I was actually involved in the Shawnee Justice Center a few years ago. Campus development with multiple buildings. Had the privilege of working with Alderman Banman on UCM, a few projects out there, which was a campus environment. Community recreation, aquatics, and park amenities. Several community centers, including Olathe Community Center, which I actually live in and had the pleasure of leading that team. And then educational spaces between higher ed and K through 12. That's one of our major markets that we're involved in. In fact, we're working on the Green Valley High School as we speak. So as I mentioned, I'm a team leader, and ultimately I'm accountable for the success of the project, but I have a fantastic team. Cole Meyer will lead our pre-construction effort, and that's really working with the architect, as we mentioned, to make sure we're guiding the project and the design towards where it needs to be. He's got 10 to 15 years of experience solely in these types of projects, both community centers and civic centers. Chris Vate is our principal in charge. His market covers everything in the Kansas region, with the exception of higher ed and healthcare. Everything else really falls under his umbrella, and he's who I report to every day. Why he's a benefit, though, is with the development that may, end up occurring here, which who knows what it becomes, but it's going to actually drive the development of Main Street and kind of meet those goals of that development plan that was put together a few years ago. Chris has unbelievable relationships with owners and developers that we think we can use as an asset to help you achieve what you're trying to do. Brett Taylor is project manager, and Jeff Clemens, they're currently working down in Dalton. They're working down in Dalton on a high school expansion and renovation, which includes an auditorium, and it also includes, a full-size high school competition gym. They also have worked together on an annex for Johnson County Court, so they've got some phenomenal experience. Jeff Clemens and I have worked together for nearly 15 years, so we come with a pretty good working relationship together. Ryan Schaff is a local community member. He is going to lead our, I'll say, engineering services. MEP is mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So, I know Shannon, Ryan. He's been a coach in the community, really excited to be involved. And he's gonna really just help us from that perspective. He actually worked as an electrician for years, and we brought him on board, and he looks at drawings and provides constructability reviews, and just provides us kind of a second set of eyes when we look at the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing design. I'm not an expert in that field, he is, that really helps. And then last but not least is Mr. Pat Contreras.
Mr. Mayor, Board Alderman, thank you so much. I'm Pat Contreras, and I will lead our community outreach efforts.
If I could distill,
If you don't turn it off.
Here we go. Sorry, I'm not the IT guy, clearly, I'm on the community outreach piece, but if I could distill these 3 comments into one phrase, it's this: it's that McCown Board of Construction takes communication to a whole new level. And for us, it's about working lockstep with the community, with City Hall, with their community stakeholders, with their businesses, to ensure that this project is a success. We have a quote from Mayor of Independence, Eileen Weir, from your Alderman Chris Mammon and Diane Huntsmore, and if I could also highlight the Belton Chamber of Commerce, and if you could think about this guy, Jeff Clemens, Superintendent, I'd like to highlight him and just kind of talk about how important this role is and how we're gonna help him usher in a successful project. Jeff Clemens, as you can see in the top tweet there, that is in fact him dunking a basketball, and yes, that rim is in fact regulation. But Jeff Clemens is a superintendent and a jack of all trades, someone who takes community engagement to a whole new level. So in Belton, he's joined the Chamber of Commerce, he's given site tours, but he tweets out on a daily basis what's going on, so that the community knows, social media, what is happening on a day-to-day basis. And I think this is so important because this is a great way, as we work with you, lockstep, an extension of the city, to inform and educate our community. And Jeff is gonna be so good at that. And what my role is to help him do that. So I will work with your Public Affairs Office, with Ryan, with Teresa, and with Ken, and with the board as well, just to make sure that our community is educated and informed. And we're gonna speak to their learning, speak to where they're at. Going to the B&B theaters, or to the Grain Valley Market, or the Baptist Church, or to the seniors luncheon that happens every month. We want to be there. We want to answer questions. We want to educate the community so that we know this is their project. And when we think about what we're going to approach in an April 2020 vote, that's about 1 year away. That means we got to get started immediately. And my hat goes off to you for selecting Ballard King and working and selecting staff and Helix to make sure that we are in fact reaching the community. So this is something I'm passionate about. I run for office myself, and I've also worked on a number of campaigns. This is a campaign. We want this to be exciting. We want people to talk about this. But we also want to make sure that people have an opportunity to share their voice, give us feedback. What do you want this to look like? Because we do know that the community survey recently talked about, we want development. We want more retail. We also want charm. We want to maintain that small town feel that is Grain Valley, that history that really makes Grain Valley unique. And that's what we want to make sure that we're capturing all that feedback from these folks. So you can see us as working lockstep with the city, with Zach Helix, and with Ballard King. So we would host a number of we would host a kickoff meeting, and from there, host community forums, community meetings, making sure that we're engaging with trade partners as well, and in working with the local community. We want the local trade partners to have a shot at this. And it's important to us that we make sure that the trade partner community knows about this project, they know how to bid on it, so that when it comes to bid day, they're fully informed. And so you can see us as a communication tool, an advocate for you all. And finally, when we think about the growth that Grain Valley is going through, right now with a population of 13,000, and with the projected growth pattern to reach over 32,000 in the year 2035, Grain Valley is on the target to reach new heights, and it's such an exciting and critical time. This is your legacy to leave, and we want to make sure that we're honoring the history and the preservation that is Grain Valley, and aligning that with development and growth, so that we can see something that really resembles Snabar Farm, something that started with William Rockhill Nelson in 1913, but is also updated today, but still maintaining that small town feel with its charm, and at its very center, its community, family, and down values. And we just want to make sure that we are doing this lockstep with you all, so that we are communicating that. Some people don't think that development can coincide with preservation, but it can. We can make sure that we're honoring the heritage that is Grain Valley and pushing forward and into the future, so that in fact you're going to have something that you're going to be proud of. But you're going to see us on a regular basis. We're going to be here and communicating with you all, and just frankly, we're just honored to be a part of that team. And today, and knowing how I've also run for office in the past, and I know the importance of asking for your vote, and you all have to vote. We're asking for your support today, because we are so excited to get to work. We know time is of the essence. Teresa, you've just been doing, such a great job of just ushering this in. And Ryan, we're just fired up, and we just want to get to work. We're ready to do it, and we really appreciate your support. And also, available to answer any questions you all have. Again, I'm Patrick Barris on behalf of Chris Hatch and our entire team. Our promise is to be your best partner. Thank you.
And a few things to add to that too. First of all, the excitement is what we felt working with McCowan Gordon through this whole process, and the attention to detail and the history and moving forward through that process. We know that they'll be a great partner for us. A few things to note, back in February, we did amend the budget, if you'll remember, to include some money in that line item for this exact reason, for that construction manager at risk, so we took care of that in February. Also, one thing I just wanted to point out that was unique to their proposal was that should we go to vote, and for any reason the vote doesn't pass, the first $60,000 for the phase 1 and phase 2 of this project would be waived as their commitment to a partnership with us and helping us get to the end and get a successful vote out on the ground. So that was unique to their proposal as well. If you guys have any questions, I'm sure they'd be happy to answer them.
Do you have any questions or discussion?
One, I may,
Go ahead.
the team you showed up there, is that currently the team that's working on the schools now?
No.
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 Brad and Jeff are working in Belton. I'm trying to think of who's on the team here. I think it's, oh shoot, I can't remember off the top of my head. But no, it's not the same team.
When you said there was one guy that does something separate of schools, but I was just curious.
No.
I can't wait to see what Jeff has to put out on social media.
Yeah.
I would have followed
Yeah.
him right away.
Yeah, the dunk it's still contested on whether it's real or not, but we'll take his word for it. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I will give you one. No problem.
Unless have any additional discussion? Seeing none, then all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, 0. Next will be ordinances.
The first ordinance bill on the agenda is Bill Number B 19-10, an ordinance amending Chapter 600 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Green Valley, Missouri pertaining to alcoholic beverages, and this would become ordinance number 2463.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept bill number B 19-10 for its second reading, making it ordinance number 2463.
I have a motion from Alderman Bannman to approve Bill B 19-10 for its second reading, making it ordinance 2463. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Headley. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, as you will recall, this is the section of code that Teresa and other staff members, Chief Beal, worked on to revise, to bring it up to date. So we've covered everything, all of the wants and the needs that the board had with the regulations. If you have any questions, feel free to ask Teresa or Chief.
Anyone have any questions or discussion? Seeing none, will be roll call.
Alderman Bass?
Yes.
Alderman Bannman?
Yes.
Alderman Headley?
Yes.
Alderman Stratton? Yes. Alderman Totten? Yes. Alderman West?
Yes.
Okay, 6-0, Mayor, with a passed motion.
All right, the second ordinance is Bill Number 19-11, an ordinance amending the 2019 Comprehensive Fee Schedule of the City of Green Valley, Missouri, and this would become ordinance number 2464.
Mayor, I move that we accept Bill B 19-11 for its second reading, making it ordinance number 2464.
I have a motion from Alderman West to approve Bill B 19-11 for its second reading, making ordinance 2464. Do I have a second? Alderman Totten. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, just as part of, changing chapter 600, we wanted to, extract the fees, that are included in that section and put them into the comprehensive fee schedule just to try and maintain a more transparent and open, government, and the fact that we're providing one location for all of our fees. We will be doing this in other areas as well, but this relates specifically to chapter 600 and the licensing fees.
Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, will be a roll call.
Alderman Bass?
Yes.
Alderman Bamman?
Yes.
Alderman Headley?
Yes.
Alderman Stratton? Yes. Alderman Totten?
Yes.
Alderman West?
Yes.
6-0 with a passed motion there.
The third ordinance is Bill Number B-19-12, an ordinance authorizing the City of Green Valley, Missouri to enter into an equipment lease purchase agreement as lessee with State Bank of Missouri as lessor with respect to the acquisition and installation of in-car video systems and computers, becoming ordinance number 2465.
Okay, I'm not sure, but I move that we accept bill number B-19-12 for its first and second reading, making it ordinance number 2465.
Okay. I have a motion, Alderman Totten, to approve Bill B-19-12 for its first reading, and we'll bring it back by title only for its second reading.
Okay.
I have a second.
Second.
Second, Alderman Bamman. Okay, any discussion on the first reading?
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is simply in-car data systems for the police department. It is budgeted, going to be replacing 9 units that are dash cams and kind of the Tough Book laptop with Windows 10 operating system inside of it. So that's the lease is going to provide for the acquisition and installation of all of these assets. If you have any questions, Chief Beal or Ms. Bowden can help with that.
I have one, Brian. Chief, at the end of the lease period, is it like $1 and we own it, or, okay?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's $1, it's probably,
$1
yeah,
comes to the city and ours.
it probably is a nominal amount like that. I'm gonna buy them all for $1 at the end of the lease period.
You have that in writing?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Plenty of writing on this one. I would like to note that State Bank of Missouri was actually awarded this one. They were competitive. We also included Green Valley, or the Bank of Green Valley. I called Mr. Lefko myself to find out if he was interested. These are very hard. It's very hard to finance for the government because you have to have underwriters, and I mean the fees just to get the financing are outrageous. And so there's a few people that have picked it out as a niche, and State Bank was low bidder in this. So I was proud to see our local bank get it.
Any additional discussion on the first reading? Okay. All in favor, then please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. I'll go to the second reading.
Bill Number 19-12, an ordinance authorizing the City of Green Valley, Missouri to enter into an equipment lease purchase agreement as lessee with State Bank of Missouri as lessor with respect to the acquisition and installation of in-car video systems and computers, becoming ordinance number 2465.
I move that we accept bill number B-19-12 for its second reading, making it ordinance number 2465.
Motion from Alderman Totten to approve Bill B-19-12 for its second reading, making an ordinance 2465. Do I have a second? Second, Alderman Bamman. Any discussion? All right. Seeing none, will be your roll call.
Alderman Bass?
Yes.
Alderman Bamman?
Yes.
Alderman Headley?
Yes.
Alderman Stratton? Yes. Alderman Totten?
Yes.
Alderman West?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0, Mayor.
Okay, the last one is Bill number 19-13, an ordinance declaring the results of the general election held in the city of Green Valley, Missouri on April 2nd, 2019.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept bill number B 19-13 for its first reading and bring it back for its second reading by title only.
I have a motion from Alderman Bamman to accept Bill B 19-13 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Headley. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, as typical after an election, we have to wait until Jackson County certifies the results. At that time, you receive the ordinance and vote on it to accept the results. So I would, congratulations to the candidates, Mr. Cleaver, Nancy. I'm going to be very sad to see Alderman Bamman go, but I got to say the take of the election was that Alderman Bass ran away with it. So good job.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, now the second reading.
Bill number 19-13, an ordinance declaring the results of the general election held in the city of Green Valley, Missouri on April 2nd, 2019, becoming ordinance number 2466.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept bill number B 19-13 for its second reading, making it ordinance number 2466.
I have a motion from Alderman Bamman to accept Bill B 19-13 for its second reading, making ordinance 2466. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Headley. Any discussion? All right. Seeing none, it'll be a roll call.
Alderman Bass?
Yes.
Alderman Bamman?
Yes.
Alderman Headley?
Yes.
Alderman Stratton? Yes. Alderman Totten?
Yes.
Alderman West?
Yes.
The motion passed 6-0.
Well, the half city Grand Valley was the different gets class, so they're recognition of your service, dedication, not only that, I mean, I'm sort of on the school board and then actually part of the city for many years, so it's kind of keep stepping out from the board, but we go stay active in Grand Valley and, you know, appreciate all the knowledge and the leadership we appreciate it.
It's an honor to serve with all of you.
Then our pleasure.
We will take a short recess now. Next item is elected official oath of office. If I could have Tom Cleaver, Nancy Totten, and Shay Bass forward and center, please. I'll let you all do it together, you know, single you out.
She's doing oath, and when she's doing oath, she has to talk. So we could do like a posed one where you're just smiling. Right now. All will raise your right hand. Brian's not. You're always in the background, it's tradition. Okay, so, we leave all together, so, I state your name. I, do solemnly swear or affirm. That I possess the qualifications prescribed by law. For Alderman Ward, I support the Constitution of the United States. The state of Missouri. The provisions of state statutes. Affecting fourth-class cities. And the ordinances of the city of Green Valley, Missouri. And I shall faithfully conduct myself in office. And respect the confidences and information which come into my possession. So help me God. Congratulations. You have to jump over though.
I didn't pay any attention to it.
Like actual meeting, I think, could we call yes, we tried to.
You're on it.
Alright. Seeing no, new business, ordinances, or resolutions, or additional ones, we'll move on to city attorney's report.
The only thing I have was, we just wanted to thank, Alderman Cleaver and Alderwoman Totten for coming to our, COT training that we had last Friday in Independence. We still have a few that are gonna be held in the next few weeks, so if anybody else wanted to come, but we just appreciated you coming out, so thank you.
Well, I want to say something. I really appreciated being able to go because I believe you made me aware of several things that I wasn't aware of.
We appreciate that.
Everyone was very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up then is city administrator staff reports.
We will start with, Chief Beal.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to remind you guys that April 27th, we have, state council meeting, so this is one of the year, so we can, April 27th, we can right on the south side.
Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna go out of order. I'm actually going to go next because Teresa has a tremendous amount of stuff, and I don't wanna have a staff report after her, because you'll all be asleep. So I just wanna remind you all, this Friday, the 26th, is the Green Valley Partnership, annual gala. I know that we've put out, feelers for people, and we've got tickets. I know JC, you're bringing actually half of your, well, most of your office, 13 of your office, so, not that this should influence you one way or the other, but I have been elected president, and I hear that Daryl's gonna pay homage to me, so it's worth coming to see. Anyway, that's Friday the 26th. If you wanna come and haven't RSVP'd now, let me know. That way we can, try to work something out. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Ozenbach.
Just to piggyback on that, I believe Sarah has distributed all the tickets, so if you had RSVP'd, you should have those tickets.
Or they're in your mailbox.
Or they're in your mail. Also following up on trainings, I'm gonna pass one of these each way, you can look through it. There will be another, elected official training. This one's in Columbia on June 7th and 8th, and I believe you guys are there as well. Is that correct? I think there's, some of your attorneys are in the back of that one. This is through MML, and so if you have an interest in going, we do budget for a few aldermen every year. So you can let me know if you have an interest in that. Also, it's kind of that time, I'm a little behind the game on this, I'll admit, but it's business license renewal time. And this year, I just have one business from the 2018-2019 renewal cycle that I've struggled to get their license completely in. I have their application, I've been waiting to get a no tax due letter from them. I've emailed, I've called, I've sent a certified letter, I've left voicemails, so I'm kind of at a loss of what to do at this point, so I'm bringing it to the board for the next step instructions. So if you'll recall, per ordinance, you have to have an occupational license to be operating as a business in this city. Actually, I have two right now that are not licensed fully. One of them has been in contact with me this week and has brought money in, and I'm waiting on the application part of that as well. So we've never gotten to this point last year. I was able to get everybody to respond once I sent those certified letters out. I'm thinking maybe next steps would be to have code enforcement go out and just do an in-person check, unless you guys have another preference on what we should do next. Kind of new territory for me. I haven't had this happen where I haven't been able to get a response.
Mayor, members of the board, I would suggest that codes go out, contact them, and make sure that nothing's falling through the cracks. And at that point, if we just absolutely have somebody refusing to gain an occupational license, then we we'll talk to them, make sure that what it is what it is, and move to revoke their occupation within Green Valley.
And then I think there's some citations that can be issued with that too. Okay, so I will have Officer Draper just stop by and see if he can make contact then on that one. Also, the household hazardous waste, just a reminder that this is also Saturday, the 27th, from 8 a.m. to noon. This collection will be at Pink Hill Park in Blue Springs. Sarah's been distributing the flyers around, but if you have any more questions on that, you can reach out to one of us about that. And my last report, I just wanted to give you an update on where we're at. Since we had McCowan Gordon here tonight, I thought maybe it would be a good time to do an update on where we're at with staff design. So we've spent a tremendous amount of time with staff there, our design firm, over the last 2 weeks. We've done 2 full days, I think, of site visits. So we've toured police departments, city halls, rec centers with department heads. Those were very beneficial on showing us some things we liked, but also a lot of things that we didn't want to carry forward in our building. And that helps the design firm start to get a feel for what we're looking for and moving forward. We've also spent 2 full days in programming with them, and the best way to describe programming, if you were programming a house, it would be a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. That's what a program is. So we've been sitting down with each department, not just department heads, but key department staff as well, to program what would a new city hall look like, not only for our staff today, but for our needs in 10 years and 20 years from now. And that will help them start kind of getting a space estimate started for us from there. We've had our first steering committee meeting, and Alderman Stratton is representing the board on that committee. Actually it's this week on Thursday, we're having our first visioning meeting. And as you know, we can't have the whole board there. We have a quorum, and that, then it's sunshine laws and things like that. But at our visioning meeting, this is the first one that will be public. It's an invite-only meeting, though, and so it's getting feelers out first to stakeholders in the community. So that's school board members, park board members. There will be some business owners there, leaders from the faith community. All in all, I think we probably have around 40 people coming to that meeting. So that will be our first kind of gauge to see what does the public and those invested in the community, what are they interested in seeing. And from there, we will then later in the summer start having general public community meetings that will be open and everyone will be invited to. So I'm excited to see how those come about. Our next steps, now that we have our CMR on board, we can start to work with SAP in the next few months to get our initial cost, and our budget feasibility drawn up and see what that looks like, start those community meetings with a plan to start coming together and a vision for this building to start coming together later in the year towards the fall or winter timeframe. That's my update.
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Next up then is Board of Aldermen reports and comments. Alderman Stratton.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Alderman Totten.
Nothing.
Nothing?
No.
You don't want them to start. Thank you, nothing.
Okay. Alderman Bass.
I have nothing, thank you.
Alderman Headley.
Just congratulations to the new board members and the renewed board members. So, congrats.
Alderman West.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Okay. Alderman Cleaver.
Nothing at this time.
All right. Next up is the mayor's report. I've been told I have some reports. May 13th, everyone's favorite night, pictures for the Board of Aldermen. Woo-hoo. We'll meet at 6 o'clock downstairs, and you did individuals on everybody again?
Not unless anybody specifically would like to have it.
Okay. So if you did not like your picture last year,
They were all lovely, so.
then get an individual one. If not, a group picture will be at 6 p.m. where something that says Grand Valley on it. It has our city logo. And I believe you have stuff if choose table fit.
We're working on that. But individuals for the two new
Okay.
and the group.
Alright. So individual photos plus group photos. Alright.
No choice.
Is that it? From your, okay. I don't have anything else additional, and I do not believe we have a need for an executive session, correct?
No, sir.
Alright, so unless someone has something else for regular session, I don't see, we will adjourn.